But if the answer is yes, and that time teaching them to read or teaching them Spanish or following through on a promise you made them, if that is gonna actually help them get to that single sentence vision, then that means you've gotta get started today. Being a parent can be one of the hardest, most important, and most rewarding jobs you'll ever do. It can also be one of the most devastating. I know far too well the pain you feel as a parent when you should have done something, but you just never got around to it. When you promised your kid, your partner, your friends, your family that you would actually do and execute on something, but you failed yet again. And unlike other people on the internet, I'm not gonna tell you to just feel better, to ignore those feelings, because I want you to feel it. That feeling of guilt bubbling up inside is telling you you should have done something better, and you have to honor that feeling. But you don't stop there. Feeling it is part of the battle, but actually changing your action is the other half, and that's how you get over the hump to the other side, where you're finally doing and delivering on those sacred promises you've made to your child. Now, many of you are wondering, why is it that I keep saying I'm gonna do this with my kid, and I never do? And the number one reason why so many parents have this laundry list of things you wanted to do with your kid, but never actually followed through on, is because you don't have a vision of who you want your child to become. A vision is an ideal image. This is an image of their future that you use to connect to the present. You say, if I want my kid to be a critical thinker, if I want them to be a responsible citizen, if I want them to be happy and healthy, then how does this thing I'm doing today tie in? And if it doesn't tie in, guess what? This thing you're doing today, it's not going to last. It's gonna feel hard and difficult. It's gonna feel too challenging, and when your kid pushes back, you're gonna drop it. Let me give you a very, very clear example. When I was a teacher, I used to look at videos of National Teachers of the Year to find out what they did differently from an average teacher. I wanted to find out, how could I be the best at what I did and provide my students with an amazing classroom experience? So I listened to their interviews. I saw them talk about their classroom, and what I found was every great teacher has a crystal clear image, a crystal clear vision of their students in the classroom. They can tell you exactly how every single thing in their classroom connects to this bigger picture image, so when life gets hard, when students push back, when they come in tired, they still know they've got to get it done because they've got to get their kids here. If you don't have one of these visions for your kid, the action isn't going to work. So what you can do today is write down in one sentence, what is your vision for your kid? If you don't have this written down in words, your action is going to fail, you're gonna feel tired, and all of those negative feelings are gonna bubble back up again, and you're gonna come back to this video wondering, what did I do wrong? Write down a single sentence vision for who you want your child to become in your life. Then ask yourself, is this thing I'm putting off today gonna help get them there? And if the answer is no, drop it, don't worry about it again, it's not important. But if the answer is yes, and that time teaching them to read or teaching them Spanish or following through on a promise you made them, if that is gonna actually help them get to that single sentence vision, then that means you've gotta get started today. Another reason why there's a bunch of stuff we want to do with our kids, but we don't follow through on, is because we tell ourselves we don't have enough time to do that thing. And here's what I wanna be clear. From parent to parent, I totally get that there's a lot of things going on in your life. There's a lot of things going on in mine too. And this isn't a competition of who's got the busiest schedule. This is just to say, if you've got this vision of who you want your kid to be, and you've got this thing over here that's gonna help them become that thing, then it's on you, it's on me, it's on us to be able to make time for that thing to flourish. I know it's hard. I totally get it, but a lot of us spend way too long doing things that are actually very, very simple. My job is to help parents teach their kids to read. I have parents day after day telling me I don't have enough time to teach my kid to read. They'll tell you themselves, teaching them to read is gonna fundamentally change their life, but it just takes too much time and energy to get started. And I want to tell you, that's a myth. That's a myth. That's something we make up in our head based on our own experience. It doesn't need to take a lot of time. If you want to teach your kid to read, you can do it in 5 minutes a day. You can review the letter sounds, have them blend them together, and then introduce some books. 5 minutes a day. It doesn't have to be 30 minutes, it doesn't have to be an hour, but that thing that you have that's so important that you finally want to follow through on, can you make it into a 5-minute task that you can start today? Can you find the smallest possible chunk? And if you can do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and build that 5 minutes into a routine, I bet you next week you can do 7. I bet you the week after you can do 10. You've got to find a really small chunk, the easiest possible entry point, because often when we say we don't have enough time, what we're really saying is, I don't know how to start and I think it's going to be hard. Find a 5-minute chunk, plan it at the same time every single day, and know that if you follow through on those 5 minutes, not only is it going to get easier every day, not only will it get a little bit longer every day, but every single day you take that step, you're pushing your child one step closer to that greater vision that you have for their life. And maybe you have the time, you have the vision, but you're intimidated. You're just scared. And if this is you, I've been where you are. When my son was really little, I had this dream that I was going to teach him how to speak Spanish. And it was really important to me because my Spanish was average and I wanted him to be bilingual, right? I could tell you I've got the 10 or 20 or 30 minutes a day with him just in my day-to-day interaction when he's a baby. I've got this vision of him being bilingual and having opportunities, but I was intimidated to actually get started and to follow through on it because I thought my Spanish was too bad. I thought I wasn't good enough, and as a result, I never taught him anything. He didn't learn a single word, not even hola. Now, had I gotten over that fear and understood what I know now, which is you don't need to be perfect to get started, but you can learn and grow along the way, he would be speaking Spanish fluently today. He didn't need his daddy to be perfect at speaking Spanish. He needed his daddy to give his best and to get over that hesitation. I did not, and as a result, he suffered. Now, I'm not here to say that you've got to teach your kid Spanish. I don't want to say you've got to teach your kid to read. Whatever the thing is for you that you're holding off on, that you know is important, that you know you can do in 5 minutes a day, but you're choosing to let fear win. You're choosing to let that intimidation win instead of taking decisive action. You've got to get over it and you've got to get started, because one big lesson I've learned is that nobody is good at teaching when they start. We all get better through starting. We don't start good, we get good. And if you're able to get over that fear and do your first 5-minute lesson, do your first 5-minute activity and reflect on it after to find a way to get better, those little improvements over time are going to make you an amazing teacher. I would have been a terrible Spanish teacher day 1. Day 10, I would have been better. Day 20, I would have been better. Day 60, I would have been amazing. I would have taken those little steps every day to get better. 5 minutes a day, would have done it. I let fear win, and as a result, my son lost. If you are scared to get started, I'm here to tell you, it's okay. You're gonna suck day 1, but guess what? Day 2 is gonna get better, and day 3 will get better after that. Now, I'm not sure what the thing is for you and for your kid. Quite frankly, I wish I had resources to support you in whatever it is that your goal is. If it's reading, I got you covered. I've got lots of those resources on my page. But if the goal is something else, I don't have the knowledge of that specific subject. What I do have is the knowledge of how to get started, right? Setting that vision, breaking down the first day into just 5 minutes and stacking those 5-minute wins day after day after day until you're able to build up on it. Getting over the fear, the intimidation, the hesitation, the voice in your head that says you've got to be perfect, how to put that voice down and actually get started anyways, those 3 things are going to work regardless of your goal for your kid. So before you finish this video and before you go back on YouTube and start scrolling through more videos, I want you to make a commitment right now. I want you to make a commitment that you're going to write down that vision, that you're going to find a 5-minute block of time to get started, and that you're going to get over the fear and actually do it. Listen, I'm not saying this is easy. I am saying it's worth it. And I want you to remember that you can do this, your kid can do it too, and I'll be here to support you every step of the way.